Wait.
Alright, 3, 2, 1.
Right, we are live again. Live and direct down at the Olympia Health and Fitness. And we have a very special lady in the hot seat. And we've got a little man at the side of her. So today, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. So we'll start with the young lady straight across from me. What are you, young lady?
So my name's Claire. Used to be sort of bodybuilder, a nurse, a critical care nurse as well, and just fought my battle with cancer and won.
Okay, excellent. And then we got the man to your left. Who are you, young man?
I'm Little T. I work with Trevor, running the gym stroke charity.
Okay, all right. So we'll find out a little bit more about you as we go along. So I don't know. I think we're on episode 8. Of the Brutally Honest, and everyone's laughing at me when they're asking me what does mashing up the dance mean. I said I'm not telling you, but for those who know. But those who don't know, try and work it out for yourself. It's a Caribbean phrase, mashing up the dance. So it's a brand new podcast that's mashing up the dance. Right. So Claire, we'll start with you.
Yes.
So I think I've known you for a couple of years. I think a few years, I don't know, remember, 5 or 6 years. And, I think you guest posed at my show,
Yes.
so you're a bodybuilder,
Yes.
female bodybuilder, right?
Yeah.
So how long have you been training?
For bodybuilding, it's been about sort of 6-7 years. But before that, I was fighting, did ultra marathons.
Hold on a minute. So you was fighting as well.
Yes.
So who was you fighting?
So I used to do sort of white collar boxing prior to doing bodybuilding. It was finding women. It wasn't a very popular sport at the time that I was doing it, so it was really hard to find any other sort of opponents. So that's what helped sort of transition me into bodybuilding.
Okay, excellent. So you was a white collar boxer.
Yes.
And you said you used to do before that? You said you used to do something before boxing?
Yeah, so I did a lot of sort of marathons, triathlons, and climbing, and
Wow.
lots of different things.
So you come from a really sporting background, which is, me being a, IFBB Pro bodybuilder, I know that's what you was gonna head into, those sports are going to prepare you for the torture of bodybuilding, because a lot of people don't really understand what bodybuilders go through. I mean, I as a sprinter and a amateur boxer before I got into my bodybuilding career, I'm not saying it was easy. Getting punched in the face is very hard.
Yeah.
But bodybuilding sort of like it's a 24-hour thing.
That's it, and I think a lot of people, they don't see it as a sport. Like a lot of my family are sort of sporting backgrounds, and to them it's sort of bodybuilding's. It's like it's not really a sport, is it, Claire? And I'm like, but it is. It's the hardest sport I've had to do.
Yes, 100%. And I in my previous life, I used to run a security company, and I remember talking to a heavyweight boxer, professional boxer, and he said to me one day, "Is it really a sport that?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You want to come and train with me in the gym? Do you want to come and see how much cardio I do, the foods?" And I said, "I've done boxing, amateur level, but this is probably torture.
Yeah.
This is torture."
Yeah.
So if anybody says it's not a sport, you're welcome to try it.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult.
Give it a week.
Yes. Okay. So you come from a sporting background. So why sports? I mean, I'll tell you now. The reason why I got into sports is because I was really good at sports. I wasn't really good at, academically. I was, it wasn't really my thing. I didn't really enjoy it, but, I love my sports. But so that's why I got into it. So what about you? Why did you end up in sports?
Again, I think just because I loved it. So I was always a bit of a tomboy at school. I was always hanging out with the boys, always playing the football, and I think it sort of started from there. And then my family was sort of part of the athletics group, and so I didn't want to be left out as a little girl, so I went along to the athletics, and that all sort of started my sort of love for sports. I was always known for being the rough one who was going to tackle anyone. Used to play football for my county, and everyone was like, when I was on the squad, they were like, oh, we're not getting past her. So I think I've always just had this reputation of it's just, let's go full throttle. And I love the feeling that sports give.
Okay, and then let me ask you one question about your mum and dad. We'll just touch on it today. So was your father a sportsman?
He's a runner.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was never into running up until, about 30 years ago. But yeah, then he was an avid runner doing a lot of marathons, but this is not built for running particularly far.
Okay, what about mummy?
She was never really sporty, to be fair. She did a lot of walking, but yeah, sports wasn't really a thing.
Okay. So it's just something what's in you then, really.
I guess it must be. I think, I don't know. It's just something I love to do. I love trying to sort of push my body to that sort of next extreme that most people can't.
Well, excellent. Really good. So I'm going to move on a little bit. Let's go back to bodybuilding then. So you walk into the gym for the first time as a lady, and I'll just tell you, many years ago when I was a amateur bodybuilder, walked into the gym, I remember seeing one lady in the corner, blonde-haired girl, Julie Dent. I remember her name, massive legs, and she was squatting and training. There was just one lady though. In a rough spit and sawdust. I loved it. I thought, wow, this girl she's nice. I mean, she wouldn't look at me. I was a skinny little 11-stone amateur boxer, but she had long blonde hair, big muscular legs, tight six-pack. I thought, wow, this girl looks crazy, But so what's your experience of, experiences of experience really, walking in the gym? How did you feel? What was the vibe and what was the energy? How did you find it?
I've just sort of loved the vibe I get in the gym.
But to bring you back to when you first walked.
When I first walked.
Your very first day, how did you find that? Did you know that you wanted to be a female bodybuilder when you walked in?
No, I had absolutely no idea. So I think my first time in the gym really, that was when I was training for my fighting and was doing a lot of explosive works with the weights and lots, squats, etc. So that was my first sort of like introduction into the gym. But yeah, just sort of the feeling you get when you pick up a weight and you can throw it around is, I find that's just the best feeling in the world. But I loved all like the spit and sawdust gyms. They're the best.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Because like that first, the very first time, as I said, it just never really has left me. I've always remembered when I first walked in that gym, I realized, I said, this is where I'm going to spend my time, because there was nice gyms with, carpets, and, nice music playing. But that wasn't for me. I wanted to get that, that thing, that hardcore vibe. I could smell the sweat, the rusty dumbbells, the weights banging. I just loved that. That's what I loved.
Yeah.
And that's where I spent all my time in the gym. Even on my days off, I used to go to the gym and watch the big guys. And I was privileged enough at the time. There was Robert Wall, who had won Mr. Universe. There was Adrian Stones, and I think he was like Mr. Britain and European champion. And, I was surrounded by, I was in a gym full of champions. So, they say if you my father used to say, you sleep with dog, you wake with flea. So transferring that into English, it means if you knock about with positive, successful people, that's what normally happen.
Yeah.
So if you're in a gym full of champions, normally you're going to become a champion as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these days, with a lot of these commercial gyms, I don't think there's that many champions walking around from Pure Gym and one or two of the
Don't think so.
graveyard gyms, as we call them. I don't, I just couldn't imagine anybody building a really, world-class physique. Maybe there is somebody who's probably a genetic freak, but, I just couldn't, I've never seen anybody build a really good physique in those commercial gyms I think you need to go to a proper gym, knuckle down and train and get obviously nutrition done, all that.
That's it. I've trained in sort of your commercial gyms, and you go in, you get a workout done, and it's good. But then you go to a proper hardcore gym, and you come out, and it's just like, that was a different level. It just pushes you to a place that sort of a commercial gym just doesn't at all. So yeah,
100%.
definitely.
So I'm going to move on a little bit more. So, so you decided that you're going to be a female bodybuilder, so that in the, the mainstream public, that's not a normal thing to do. No. It's for a lady to walk around with muscles. So how have you found that, walking around with, a big muscle, arms, how do you find the reaction of people?
You tend to get a bit of a mixed reaction. There's some positive, some negative. I think at the end of the day, everyone's got an opinion on things. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, you shouldn't do that. You look awful. A lot of people have something to say, but at the end of the day, this is what sort of makes me happy. So if my favourite response often is say, if they're sort of not in shape, it's like, well, you like eating rubbish and that's the way you look, and I like eating clean and this is the way I look, and yeah, each their own.
Because I understand, me even being when I was competing, as you said, 147 kg, the heaviest I went up to. People, with a 62-inch chest and 24-inch arms, people used to look at me and think, oh my God, what the hell's that? Even Mummy didn't like it. My mum I had a little bit of a problem with, in fact, all sports. I mean, my mum didn't used to like me doing boxing. I think she just wanted me to be at home and, just sit there watching TV. And I think my mum she was just that protected of me. I'm a mummy's boy anyway. But
problem is, I think with bodybuilding, it's very sort of stereotyped. So, I've got a lot of people that I've met sort of in the past however many years, and like they've seen me first on my social media, and they've already got this perception about you, what you're going to be like, and then you get to meet them, and I've had so many people go to me, you're actually all right. I thought you were going to be angry, nasty, this, and I'm like, I think there's so many sort of preconceptions about what bodybuilders are like, and people have not got any idea. I mean, yeah, because I'm a nurse by day as well, so it's very odd. But my family have always supported me, but yeah, I'm sure it's probably not their favourite thing for me to do, but it's what I love, so they do it.
Yeah, of course, and you please yourself, and as you said, you are a professional. You're a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you qualify to be a nurse?
Too long ago.
It's
about 18 years ago.
Right, okay. You don't look old enough to be qualified 18 years ago, but no, I mean, definitely congratulations, because we need more nurses. I recently had a procedure and I was on the waiting list for a couple of years, so I know that they're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Okay, I mean, we're going to move on a little bit. So you started competing.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, I mean, going on stage and, showing everybody what what mummy gave you. You know, is that what compete? Because people don't know. You know, because I've said people think that. I mean, they kind of get a little bit confused sometimes when I say that I was a professional bodybuilder. You know, especially my uncle and what have you. They said, "How much weight did you pick up?" You know,
Yeah.
you know. So, what is competing? You tell me. What is competing? So,
I mean, for me, it's getting on stage and bringing the best package that I possibly can. So I'm in women's physique normally, so you have to, it's quite a hard physique. Body fat has to come down, and you have to hold pretty much sort of relative amount of muscle. But it's not about how much can you lift, and the amount of times I get, how much can you bench, how much can you squat. It's nothing to do with that at all. So for me, it's getting on stage is what sort of the love is, and what you can do and sort of manipulate your body just by making the smallest changes. I find is just fascinating.
So as a judge as well, you know, it's about going on stage, and what we're looking for is, you know, muscle, obviously, symmetry, condition, presentation. You know, there's various different classes from first timers up to the open class, and now with women, there's obviously bikini, tone figure, train figure. You know, there's wellness now.
Yeah.
So there's so many more classes which bodybuilding's opened up to now. I remember when I was competing, especially amateurs, the women's, there was just physique class and bikini. I think that was it. We didn't have anything. Women didn't have anything like that. We didn't. And then we had the novice and then open for the men. So that was it. There wasn't all those classes, but things have changed a lot. I don't know if it's for the better or good, but you know, it's definitely changed.
Yeah.
You know, I've done a few competitions, and before I even move on and ask Claire any more questions, I must tell everybody out there that we are having the TT Yorkshire Classic on the 16th of August. It's an independent show. We've had various, you know, bodybuilding federations approach us and asking us to join them. But we decided this year we want to go alone. And it's an independent show with excellent trophies, fair judging, prize money. You know, we're taking all the politics out of bodybuilding and looking after the athletes. You know, we're going to have a really, really good day. Everything's going to be tip-top, 100%. So that is going to be a place for the Steel City. Because bodybuilding, I remember when I was younger, we used to have quite a few bodybuilding shows in Sheffield. And I'll tell you now, I don't think there's been a bodybuilding show in Sheffield for well over 25 years. There's been nothing. We've had no shows in Sheffield, and Sheffield's a place which is a massive boxing city, and it's a place where there's been a lot of champion bodybuilders, athletes have come from Sheffield. So, but we're putting Sheffield back on the map, and we're bringing bodybuilding back to life, because we believe it's dropped down the level now. Do you think? It's definitely gone down now, and we're going to try and put some energy behind bodybuilding. It all starts on the TT Yorkshire Classic. Look out on my website and look out on my Facebook, Instagram. We're also having a Battle for Yorkshire Olympia, which is, I remember in the olden days, we used to have Battle for Olympia where all the competitors train and post things. And we're on the website, that's what we've actually got. So we've opened it up so people can post their training videos and, you know, outdo each other and bring some life back to bodybuilding. However, one more thing I must say, on the Sunday, we have also got the sports festival. This is a really serious cause. We're running a sports festival, and any families out there, we're going to invite any families with children who have lost their life through knife crime, gun crime. We're here to help. We're here to support. And what we're doing on that event, we're going to have a strongman event. We're having a boxing exhibition, martial arts exhibition. There's going to be food, there's bouncy castles, loads of things for the kids, music, special speakers, and we are to finish off with. We're going to be having a tug of war with the police.
Absolutely.
So the police just have agreed to do that. So I'm really happy about that, for the police to get involved. We're having a knife amnesty on that day. So we want you to drop them knives and any weapons. And hopefully we're going to beat the police. I think we're going to win. The bodybuilders are definitely going to be victorious on that. So, and, hopefully this young lady will be one of the judges there. Very, very experienced bodybuilder. And the man here on the left, he's one of the organisers as well. So I've just got to say that. But anyway, let's get back to what we're here for. It's not about me today, but I've just had to say that it's the lady in the hot seat. So, yeah, so obviously, so you went on and with your bodybuilding career, so things moved on. And you won a few titles, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so how have you found that experience then? You tell me.
I've absolutely thoroughly loved every sort of time that I've got on stage. I mean, the dream has always been for the pro card, but it's just who turns up on the day and what happens sometimes on prep is sometimes things go wrong. And it's just sort of learning, adapting from that. But yeah, I'm pleased I've got the British title on a couple of occasions. So you live, learn, and develop.
Okay, all right. So you didn't actually get your pro card. So
No.
do you think there's any politics in bodybuilding?
Of course. I wouldn't like to say too much, but yeah, there's definitely some politics involved. But sometimes at the time you think it's politics, but then you can look back and you can actually see that the right person won. I think everyone puts so much hard work into that, and we all want to do well. And it's not until you've taken yourself out of that sort of high sort of moment of stress and sort of upset as well that you haven't won as well as what you thought you would, and take a step back, and then you actually can see the bigger picture. So yeah, I mean, there are politics involved, but
yeah, I understand. I mean, listen, we interviewed a judge not too long ago, and there's only so much you can say, especially as somebody what's still maybe looking at competing again. So I understand we've got to be really careful. For me, I don't give a damn, because what can they say to me? I don't care. I mean, but as I said, with our show, there'll be no politics. This is the reason why, we wanted to do it, wanted to go alone without any politics, and give everybody a fair crack of the whip.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, British champion. So you didn't expect to win that when you very first walked in the gym. That's a big achievement.
No, that was, for me, that was huge, and that was always sort of the dream at the start. Was maybe I could. Well, the first dream was get on stage. I didn't think that was possible, and then it was, won a comp, and then it was on to the British, and then in my head I was like, I want the IFBB Pro card. So I think as we do in anything, as you sort of transition and gain experience, you then want to be better.
And build up your confidence on the journey.
Yeah. When you start, you're a little fish in a big pond, and then you get to be that big fish, and then you need to go find a bigger lake. And it's transition in life, isn't it?
Okay. So, well, I mean, congratulations on winning the Britain, because I know how difficult it is. And I must say as well, for a woman, to put muscle on and to get herself in shape for a competition, it's twice as hard as a man, because women carry more fat than men, and for the people, and this is what those people who are like looking at the girls and saying and passing negative comments, Sometimes if they really went in the gym and saw what a woman has to really do to get in shape, then I think they might not say those things, because I know how hard I trained, but as I said, for a woman to get her body fat down to 5-6%, it's you're really fighting against some natural estrogen, and there's so many things what women have to go through what men don't.
Yeah, definitely. And when people say to me, oh, like, how hard do you train in the gym? And I'm like, the gym, that is the easiest bit of this whole thing. It's what you see at home. But when my curtains are shut, my door's locked, I was like, that's where the hard work is, and that's what no one actually does see.
The diet, the nutrition side, the discipline.
Yeah, I end up just being a hermit when I'm on prep. It's the door's shut at 7. I'm not coming out. I don't want to talk to people. No.
No, I understand how difficult it is as well. So yeah. So I'm going to take you back a little bit now. So I think it's about, my memory is not great, but I think about a year ago, I remember you coming up to the gym to train with me on one of the Saturdays. I normally put you through a session now and again, one of my leg sessions. And I think we trained shoulders that day. In fact, because she was in really good shape, I decided to, I said to you, would you want to train? Because obviously we're a charity as well. We mentor, young people, and I had a group. I think we must have had about 10, 12, 15 people that Saturday morning. And I remember you walking in the gym and you was limping. And you looked in very, very good condition. I thought, wow. And I said, what's going on? So I want to bring your mind back to when you walked in on that Saturday. So you walked in with trained shoulders, and you looked in really good condition. But the way you was limping, I remember saying to you at that time, I would pull out, and you just looked at me like you wanted to kill me. And I thought, I won't say that again, because I know how bodybuilding is a funny thing. When you're prepping,
you're so focused.
Yeah, but you probably might get a dumbbell in your head. That's how it can get you. If anyone says anything negative, you don't want to hear anything negative.
No, totally.
It's just like a boxer before a fight. Don't want to hear anything negative. So I'm going to bring you back. Because and you want to touch on that a little bit. So what happened? Why was you limping? Tell me a little bit about that.
So, at the time, I didn't really know why I was limping. To me, I was on prep. I think I was probably about 12 weeks out. And I'd been on the Stairmaster, and on the Stairmaster, I'd decided I was going to walk up with my feet rotated outwards, because I thought that would hit my glutes a bit better. And so in my head, I then started getting hip pain because of that. And I'd been to the doctors, and they was like, it's your training, you need to stop training. I was like, absolutely not. And I just put it down to that. And then I started getting some back pain, with shooting pains down my leg as well. So then I was thinking, well, it's sciatica that I've got. So the chiropractor, they was like, yes, you've got some degenerative spine going on, but it doesn't explain the amount of pain that you're in. And for me, I think I just wanted to get on stage, because I wanted to prove it to myself, that I would get onto stage. And the plan was to compete in Romania. So for me, I just wanted to qualify for Romania, get through this pain, and then it would all be worth it. And it was just sort of keeping my head down to be able to train and get it done. But looking back now, it wasn't my best plan. There was times, I had 2 people carrying me out the gym because I was in that much pain. Before I went to the gym, I was swigging Oromorph just to get me through that session. And I should have stopped looking back. Now, as I can see, like, looking into that situation, I would have told anyone else to stop. But when you're doing it, you just don't stop. You just keep going. So, and then it just sort of developed from there on.
So okay. So I remember that. So you came to the gym and you was limping, and I remember I had a look at what you looked like, and you looked very good. But you said that you weren't unable to train your legs. So I went, bit of a problem that, there. So, and, I had my feelings, and I watched you limp out the gym because I thought, I'm not going to tell you again to stop, So anyway, you went back home and continued with your prep. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you went back, and you want to tell me a little bit about that?
So again, I was just sort of pushing through. I can't remember how many weeks it was. It must have been 10 or 12 weeks I had left to push. So I just kept thinking, I'd got this far, let's just keep going, it will be fine. And I did manage to get on stage. However, my physique was nowhere near where it should be. You could see sort of how sort of depleted I was, and that my body, compared to normal, I normally get on stage extremely full, but this time on stage I was very stringy, but to me I was like, I've got on stage, that's all that matters. And then I had sort of 6 weeks then to sort of prep for Romania. That was the plan. But I got on stage, did 2 bros down in London, which was the qualifier, and then ended up in hospital that night with the pain. And from there, that's when my sort of nightmare sort of developed.
Okay, so at least you got on stage. I mean, I'll just bring you back to a funny story. Well, just let you gather your thoughts. I was talking to somebody a few days ago. I remember me getting ready for my I think it was my first pro show, and this is how crazy it was. It was a British Grand Prix, and it was the middle of winter, and I was training, prepping, doing cardio, looking really good. Everything was nice. I was on track, and I was sweating like mad. I just couldn't stop sweating. But when I had a really fast metabolism, me. So I used to sweat a lot, and I just thought this must be the prep, God knows, who knows. And I was just in the middle of winter pouring with sweat, and I just didn't know what was going on. And it got to the stage when I remember the evening, I went and trained in the afternoon. I was squatting 5 or 6 plates, and I was squatting, having fun, leg pressing and all the weights in the gym, and just did a really heavy leg session. I did my hour cardio, then I came back, did another hour cardio, and at that time I remember I was going out with this young lady at the time, and she came around to my house, and believe me, it was below freezing outside. I had no heating on. I had my head out of the window in the living room, breathing because I couldn't breathe. It started. I was pouring with sweat. I was just taking deep breaths, like that, outside the living room, outside the window. She came in and she said, "What the hell's going on? It's freezing in here. And what are you doing with the window in?" I said, "Oh no." And she looked at me, and I was covered in sweat. She said, "What the hell?" And she said, "You need to go to the hospital." I said, "I ain't going to the hospital. I'm 2 weeks out. I'm 3 weeks out. I ain't got time for no hospital." So anyway, she convinced me. She said, "Listen, please go to the hospital. Something's not right." I just couldn't breathe. We closed the window. I couldn't breathe. I was struggling like mad. Anyway, we went to hospital, sat there, went in A&E, got my term, and then they did my checks, checked my chest and everything, and I had pneumonia.
Gosh.
And the doctor said, "I can't believe you're on your feet. Your lungs are full of fluid. You've got pneumonia." I said, "Right." I said, "Well, I've just been training legs today. I've just been squatting one of the biggest squats I've ever done." And he looked at me like, "Are you human?" I do my cardio, and then he said, "Oh no, you're seriously ill. You need to be admitted." I went, "Oh no. I said, I'm 2 weeks. I said, I'll come back in 2 weeks." And he said, come back in 2 weeks. He said, if you leave the hospital tonight. I said, I'm discharging myself. I said, I ain't staying in no hospital. So he said to me, if you go home tonight, you know you're going to die. I said, you what? That's the only way he made me stop, because I wasn't listening to no one. He said, you're going to die. He said, you got pneumonia. It can kill you. I said, yeah, but I'm competing. I'll come back after. He said, no, you don't understand. You need treatment immediately now. So I thought, Mike, first pro show in hospital on a drip. Oh, I couldn't believe it. And I had to stay there. I actually went to the groom. I came out of hospital. I was in there for a period of time. Then I came out and went to watch the show. And I was fuming. But I think Kevin Levrone won that show, actually. Ernie Taylor was in it. I was looking forward to competing against Ernie as well. You know, it was going to be fun, because he was Britain's number one at the time, and I thought he ain't going to be Britain number one for long. And Ernie Taylor always says, I'm going to tell you now, because I tell these guys, and sometimes they look at me, really, Trevor? He said there's a couple of people he's always been really wary of. I don't know if he's ever told you. He said, I can't remember the other guy, but he said, Trevor ever comes in and shape, ripped to the bone, he's going to be problems. So that's what he always used to say. That boy is going to be, because I had a tiny waist and my structure was, my joints are really small and how big I was. So, but no, he's my brother in enough respect still. But no. So I've given you time just to have a think about what you're going to say, because I know this is hard for you. So obviously you end up in hospital. Mm-hmm. And what was the problem?
So, well, it gets more complicated. So, when I was first in hospital, this was sort of October in 2023. They just put it down to that it was sort of hip pain, sciatica, and to go home. I was like, okay, fine. So went home. Ended up calling an ambulance that night because the pain was just unbearable. Now I've got a high pain threshold, and I was literally swigging Oromorph, and the paramedics come in. They're like, "Where have you got this from?" I said, doesn't matter. I was like, I'm in so much pain, and again, nothing happened. And then I had to make that phone call to my parents. It was, I need help, and for me to ask for help, there's something wrong. I'm Little Miss Independent. So Pop's come up from Skegness, picked me up. I think he was shocked that I couldn't even take a step. So he straight in the car back to Skegness, and I was there for the next 3 months having MRIs, CT scans. I had an operation on my back because they said all the pain was sort of due to sort of degenerative spine. Never had a problem with my back before, other than a bit of a nurse's back, which is to be expected, but never issues. So I had an operation on my back, and the surgeon rang me up the week after, and he delivered me the worst news. That it's worse than cancer, this was for me. He said, you're never going to walk again. There's nothing more we can do. And that was the most awful news I've ever heard in my life. I mean, I had a full-blown sort of panic attack. Couldn't breathe. I was just like, I can't live like this. And so that was that sort of sorted. I tried to, sort of muddle through, see, what direction is my life going to go in now? I've dedicated my life to sport, my career. Is that it? Is that it over? And come January, it was my birthday. I'd been out for food with my family, and it was a couple of days after I got readmitted back into hospital because there was loads of stuff going on. So I had a rash all over my body that couldn't be explained, fatigue, weight loss, all telltale signs. But a lot of the signs, like, I put it down to the fact I'd lost weight because I'm not training. I'm tired because I was on like 180 milligram of oxycodone per day, 900 milligram gabapentin, like ridiculous amounts of medication. So everything I could sort of rationalise, and then got admitted into hospital. And it was a few days after. There was a lot of tests, a lot of investigations going on. I, in my head, thought it's just something autoimmune, sort of a, I don't know, like, could be like fibromyalgia, or there could be ME, something like that could explain it. But then the doctor come to me and told me I had stage 4 cancer. They didn't know where it was, how it developed, how, you know, how much of my body's affected, but they need to do some more investigations. And from that point then, I think I sort of fell off the perch, so to speak, because things were just getting worse and worse. So sort of I was getting headaches all the time, I was having visual disturbances, abdominal pain. I think you come to see me when I was in hospital, and it was sort of from that point on. We always say in sort of the medical career, young people, when they're poorly, they sort of do this, and the body can withstand a hell of a lot and supports you through a lot of sort of physiological processes that are going on. But then it's all of a sudden the body goes, no, and you just literally fall off the cliff. And that's sort of what happened to me. So I fell off my cliff, and my parents were sort of called in and said, you know, Claire's not looking good. She needs a chemotherapy now, but do prepare yourself for the worst, that, you know, we don't think she's going to sort of pull through the night. But obviously I did, because I'm still here. But yeah, from there, I think I had sort of 6 rounds of sort of chemo. I had a stroke at the same time. Couldn't even sort of walk, get out of bed, couldn't do nothing. And yeah, and then I had a stem cell transplant in August this year. And yeah, slowly making a comeback now. There's a lot of information there.
No, I mean, it's fantastic. Thanks, Claire. I find you inspirational and motivational for other cancer sufferers out there in the world. Cancer has no religion, and it's what people have to understand. And if your story, and the time you was ill, Claire, I mean, Trevor told me, and I thought, that should be all right, because what I know of you in the past, she's fighting fit, strong person, that's all I know of you. And then she's got 24 hours to live. 24 hours? I thought, wow. And I thought, I just give a message. I tell Claire, you know, it's mindset. She can do it. Because and why I can say that is because I've had cancer myself in the past, and like so radiotherapy, chemotherapy. 15 years old. Luckily, I had a good head teacher at school. He pulled me to one side. Said, Tariq, it's mindset. It's not the treatment. The treatment makes you really ill. You just go comfort. He's the only person that really boosted me up. That really got it. What I was going through, and I credit him. I'll never forget the chat he had with me, and with yourself. I mean, honestly, it's good to see you here with us. You made it, and it was. I mean, Trevor was seriously worried about you for 24 hours. Wow, she's not gonna pull through.
Yeah.
And tell us more. I mean, you're here now. I mean, it's just amazing. What is your bodybuilding, your training, your motivation, your mindset? Because with cancer is what I do know with cancer in life is some people have had cancer for 5 years. They go to doctors, and the doctor tells them, look, you've got cancer. But they've had it for 5 years. They've been managing okay with it. As soon as they heard the word cancer, within 4 weeks, they're dead. They've let it get to them. I mean, with yourself you're back here. You're getting ready back into training, bodybuilding. I mean, it inspired me. And everyone else in the gym, everyone's going to watch this as well. But I mean, what was it? Tell us how was it for them? Like, they're not giving up. The fact they're still here.
Yeah, sometimes you sort of look back and you think, how on earth did that happen? I remember sort of the news being broken to me. I remember sort of having my parents either side of the bed, and I was like, I'll fight this, but on the same hand, you both need to look after each other if something happens to me. I said, but I will be fighting as hard as I can. And, you know, it's weird at the time that it happened. I've always had this sort of vivid dream that I remember. And I was on my critical care unit, 'cause that's where I work. And I was saving people out of a fire. And I was dragging the patients through these tunnels. But my skin was on fire from the lymphoma that I've got. And I was dragging them, and it sounds really weird, but at the end there was a robot, and this robot held my hand, and we walked off. And that dream still stays with me now.
You know, a lot of the guys from the gym all signed the card, and we came down, a few of us, to see you. And I remember you didn't look great, but Mummy was there and some of your family. And I remember you saying to us, "I'm going to fight this." I don't even know if you remembered saying it yourself.
No, I don't remember.
And then one of the mad thing is, I actually brought my brother, because at the time he was, he's a comedian, in small doses. After a while you want him to do one, but I thought it'd be good to cheer you up, and I think that worked a little bit. Him just coming there and talking his nonsense, and but I remember you did say to us, "Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't much company," and I thought, wow, that's an original fighter. That is a hardcore fighter to say that, because she's in bed with this, serious condition and in pain, asking for pain relief. And saying, "Oh, apologise for not being much company," which was, we had Chris there as well, Chris and one or two others. We were all talking about that on the way. Why did she say that? That's what Chris is, and everybody was asking. I said, I just think that she's hardcore, isn't she? She's one of the old school kind of people who, they put other people first, and I think obviously that's through your nursing as well.
Yeah.
But no, you didn't. But you did say, "I'm going to fight it," in your days. And I remember we did a prayer as well.
Yeah.
We did a prayer, and God's good, because they gave you 24 hours to live. A lot of people don't make that.
No.
And I believe the Most High can do anything, and I believe that prayer was definitely, God received that prayer and turn things around, and it's good that you come out of this situation, and you've got a positive story to share, and help other people, and that's what I think you are now. Because when I tell people that you had stage 4 cancer, when I just done a workout with you in the gym, and trust me, I don't play with them. I still push.
She's strong.
And she's pushing it just as hard as she did when, before the cancer, but and started to come back up, the physique starting to come alive again. So it's a message for, you should, and I know you just told me that they want you to go and do a talk with that, in that cancer convention, conference thing. Definitely should do that, because as you said, as Sue just said there, a lot of people they hear the news cancer, and then they're dead a few weeks later.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you did it. I believe, and I think God was definitely sending you some strength. But obviously, you're the one who was pulled through, and
Yeah, I think there's so much. It is, as you said, it's like you hear that word cancer, because the way it's sort of portrayed in the media, it's deemed as sort of terminal, end of life.
Definitely.
And I think it's trying to change that sort of mindset. It's okay, this is a real big problem we've got, but what can we do? How are we going to sort of move on from this? I'm a great believer there's like 2 different types of people in the world. There's your problem makers, your problem solvers, and for me, it's yes, this did happen, and yes, cancer it changes your life. You feel that you walk around with a gun You're held at hostage point. You get a pain, and it's this sort of wave of anxiety. Is this the cancer back? You get a headache, and it's straight. Is the cancer back? You do a PET scan. Again, it just feels like there's that gun.
It's constantly just hanging over your head.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't get any easier, but at the same time, you need to sort of be able to sort of embrace life as well, and see the greatness in it. I was saved. My sort of work's not done. There's bigger, greater things sort of out there, but you've got to sort of keep pushing forwards and keep trying. Life is different after cancer. It doesn't define you. It makes you sort of stronger, I think, more of a warrior, to sort of move forward and help others as well.
I think that's what you're doing right now. Just hearing your story and your message, it's definitely going to be it's going to send a positive message to a lot of people out there. So
touch upon cancer. I mean, it's a fantastic point you've touched upon there, Claire. Growing up when I had cancer when I was 15, I still remember it today. How it was. I couldn't tell nobody. I couldn't share it. Because no one understood cancer, and my elders explained to me, "Look, just don't tell nobody, because when they cancer, they're going, don't come near you."
Yeah.
But it was like, for example, when AIDS first come out, people wouldn't share forks, knives, or glasses because they didn't understand it. It's like cancer was the same when I had it. It's like they didn't get it or stay away. So I'm so grateful that there's more awareness of cancer and people are more educated on it. It doesn't spread in that sense. But yeah, I mean, it's come a long way in the treatment of cancer, which is brilliant. I mean, like 20 years ago, like yourself, I don't think you'd have made it with the chemo they had back then. It's aggressive. We touched upon that, didn't we?
Yeah.
So thankfully, I mean, the NHS has come a long way, and you've got more survivors like yourself, and you're here for the Teacher Yorkshire Classics as well. Okay. Brilliant.
So we're gonna wrap up. So what's for Claire moving forward? What's Claire got planned for the next 12 months?
Next 12 months. So 2 weeks' time, I'm doing a skydive. Skydive, that's the first thing.
You must be crazy.
Always wanted to do it, so...
You're going to jump out of a plane and...
I hope the parachute opens. I hope.
Some people.
I know. Stupid.
Are we doing that for charity?
No, although it is something that has crossed my mind.
You should have done that for cancer, because...
How much is it costing you?
200 odd.
Yeah, but I'd have liked to have, you should have approached me, because as you said, we got the charity, and I'd have liked to maybe got you some sponsorship to do that. But anyway, so maybe next time, eh?
You still pay for it. Not too late in the day.
Well, it's not about paying for it, it's about raising money for the knife arch. That's what I'm thinking, or maybe getting somebody to donate, or maybe what we could have done is maybe try to get sponsorship. Whether she let her pay for it, that's what she wants to do. Yeah. But maybe don't raise money for children's cancer or the cancer ward or something like that. But maybe that's something we will talk about off camera, right? Definitely. But yeah, so carry on, please.
So hopefully my plan is to do another show, much to everyone's disgust.
Brilliant.
It's
another bodybuilding show.
Even
though it puts, the pain of it, the stress and the hard work, and you're still thinking.
It's a dream.
That. I know, I'm crazy. It's a dream. But I just love that feeling it is to get on stage, and do you know what? It will be the biggest piss off cancer I've won. For me, this is what I love to do, and if I can't do what I love to do, what's the point? So I'm gonna try. I'm not, if I try and prep gets too hard, then I tried, and I'll probably try again another time. But do you know what? I've got to try.
She's gonna do it. Why not, Claire? She's a warrior, and she sat here today with us. I know she's gonna do it. I've
Okay.
got faith in it. She'll do it.
You know
Go
it.
for it.
So, and after bodybuilding, so we
Supporting
got,
her.
so yeah, okay. And then after bodybuilding show, what else have you got planned? Anything else? You know, is that just all your plans then? You're skydiving, you're picking up your bodybuilding career.
I think so. Probably do some fitness competitions as well that I'm interested in, and
Okay.
a few holidays, and yeah, I've got a few speeches as well to do in regards to this. So yeah,
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Claire, for coming on today. You know, that's unbelievable what you've done. The battle, you know, it was a hard battle to win Miss Britain, but a bigger battle to beat stage 4 cancer.
Yeah.
You know, and
definitely.
got to congratulate you for that. You know, and as I said, you're a fighter, and you know, let's hope that you have a, you know, hopefully successful next 12 months. And or you know, I have my reservations about, you know, competitions again, but you know, sometimes people have to do what they have to do. You know, as we spoke about earlier on,
Yeah.
you know, if that's your dream, then you know, you can more than welcome to come up here and we can put you through some hard sessions, because you know it ain't going to be easy.
I'll be back.
Okay. And yeah, no, thanks very much for coming on today, guys. And I think that's all I've got to say really for now. Just obviously there's a guy behind camera, never shows his face, but his company's called Nutrabuzz, and he's you know, he's a young man what walked into the gym 3 years ago. Now he's, you know, the editor, the website developer, you know, and many other things. What he does, he does so many different things. And so if you want if you want a really good website building, you know, look out for Nutribuzz. He's also one of the sponsors for our TT Classic show. You know, and I've got to thank all the sponsors as well for the TT Classic shows. There's so many of them. You know, we are looking for more sponsorship. Please put your hand in your pocket. It's for a good cause. You know, we're going to have a sporting weekend. Let's drop the knife. Let's save some more lives. And, yep, I think that's all I've got to really say.
Yeah, the website, Olympia Sports Festival. If you can please go on there and have a look what we're about and what we're doing going forward, that'd be great.
Olympia Wellbeing Academy is the charity name as well. So look at it under the my Facebook, Trevor Crouch, and the Olympia Health and Fitness. Right, Mr. T out.